If you're looking to buy or sell a home in New Jersey, contact our Coldwell Banker office in Wayne at 973-694-8000 or call Tim direct at 973-865-0249. You can also visit his website at www.homesinwaynenj.com. Tim's promise to you and your family is to provide you with exceptional real estate service while always working to exceed your expectations. And remember, at Coldwell Banker, we never stop moving.
Welcome to the New Jersey Real Estate Show. Now, here are your hosts, Tim Waller and Matt Josephs.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the New Jersey Real Estate Show. I'm Tim Waller, your host, and I'm here today with my co-host, Matt Josephs.
How you doing, Tim?
Who's also known as the voice of reason. And we have a special co-host, Patty Tahan. She's
Hi, Tim.
Oh, how you doing, Patty?
I'm excited to be here with you.
I'm excited to have you here.
I'm excited.
And let me tell you something. She is our office branch vice president of the Coldwell Banker Wayne office. And when they made Patty, they broke the mold.
Thank God there's only one, right?
That's it.
We have fun together and make money together, right?
That's right. And we only need one.
Thank you.
Okay. We have a great show today. We'll be discussing the art of home staging. Our in-house guest with us is Angela Gagauf, the owner of New Jersey Home Decorating and Staging, which is an interior decorating firm that specializes in home staging, decorating, and color consulting. Angela, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Angela, home staging is a very, very hot topic right now, and maybe you can give us a little background on yourself and your company.
Okay, I was actually put in business by a real estate agent and happened to be a Coldwell Banker real estate agent. My husband and I have sold a lot of homes, and the longest it ever took us to sell a house was 1 month. So my real estate agent said back in 2008, could you help me stage a property? And I said, what's staging? And she said, it's what you've been doing all along. So I tried it out, and that particular house sold the first weekend. That was in 2009 when it went on the market. Sold the first weekend, $10,000 over asking.
Wow.
So I thought, okay, this could be a new career for me. So I got certified, and I continued with certifications and continuing it. And I've been in business ever since.
Quick question. How long did it take you to get certified?
It took me about 6 months.
Wow.
But because it was an online program.
But it's pretty intense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, what exactly is home staging?
It is the process of preparing a home for sale on the market. It is not decorating. It's not interior design. What we do, we are marketing a house. We're preparing it so it'll look great in the photography.
Mm-hmm.
And then I hand it over to the real estate agent.
Okay. But making it look great in photography, in other words, you set it up so you're going to highlight those rooms to look the very best that they possibly can be.
Correct. We talk about furniture placement, paint colors, repairs, space planning, traffic flow, how to bring out the selling features of the house. A lot of times homes are highly decorated, and it covers the windows.
Right.
There's too much, the floors are covered, too many carpets, area rugs. So I look at what are people buying? They're not buying the furniture, they're not buying the accessories, they're buying the house. And that's what I focus on.
And what do you think the most important reason is why someone should stage a home prior to them putting their home on the market?
It's because real estate has changed today. Everything begins online. And people are going to go online, especially the millennials. Everybody starts to look online. They're going to look at price first, and then they're going to look at presentation. And if a house doesn't look good, if the pictures aren't great, they're not going to see it. When I was looking to buy a house again 4 years ago, I must have knocked out about 70% of the homes I saw online. I wouldn't even go to visit the house.
Because it was that important that you knew exactly what you were looking
Sure.
for, and
It was the pictures. I could see what was going on. I could see there was green wall-to-wall carpeting. There was wallpaper. I didn't want to deal with having to fix a house up for myself.
any pink tiles in the bathroom?
Guess what? I could
They're
make
coming
those
back.
bathrooms look really great, and I have.
If you could do that,
I
I am
can.
sincerely
I can.
impressed.
I can.
I can vouch for her, Tim. She makes it look great.
Yeah. Let's see. What price homes should be staged?
Every price. And I particularly feel that the lower price homes, it's really critical to stage them. Number one, there's a lot more competition out there. So here's an example. There was a house that an agent went to, it was owned by a widower. $249,000, he said, when he took a look at it. And he said, I'd like you to contact my stager. So the man contacted me. I went in there with my assistant. We did the consultation. He followed everything I told him to do. And then I went back with my assistant and we staged it for him. The agent came in, saw it. He said, we're going to list it now at $269,900.
20,000 more.
And he got 5 offers the first week, 2 at full price. He was so excited. He said, now I have the money for you to help me decorate my new home. So it made a difference. You know, so many agents think that, I have agents come up to me and they say, I'd love to use your services, but, the listing's only $300,000. Well, guess what? That $300,000 means a lot to the person who was selling that house.
Absolutely.
Right.
So I would like agents to really think about all their listings.
Well, in your experience, especially with this generation of buyers, I'm finding that this generation of buyers want a turnkey situation. They'll pay a premium, if there's nothing for them to do. They have
Correct.
their granite, they have their stainless steel, they have their hardwood floors, they have the open floor plan. They will pay for that.
They'll pay for it, and they don't have the time. And there was a study done, this Moritz Research Company. They did a research on this, and they said that 63% of people are willing to pay more for a move-in ready house.
I
So
believe that.
they are
Yeah.
willing to pay for it.
Well, Angela, it makes sense too because the mortgage rates are so low that they could afford to pay more.
Correct.
And you're marketing the home for the seller and really helping the buyer. So it works in both ways.
It's move-in ready, and it also helps the buyer's agent. And I tell sellers and the seller's agent, if a house is presented properly, those buyer's agents are going to go to that house first. They're
Absolutely.
going to bypass the other homes that don't look good.
Because first impressions are lasting.
They're
They
huge.
really
Absolutely,
are.
absolutely.
So when you have a home that is coming on the market for the very first time, you want it to show in its best light. And I think home staging is really the wave of the future.
Yeah, it is. This should be part of the marketing on every single home. I believe that, Angela.
No.
You should be called on in every home.
I have some agents who bring me in on every one of their homes. I mean, I'm part of their marketing
I believe
package.
that. That's the right way to do it.
Well, what services are offered through you and your company as far as a professional stager goes?
We start out with a consultation, and that's. We start out with the. Sorry about that, guys. We start out with the consultation. I'm going to go through the house with the home seller, and we're going to cover everything that we see that I feel should be worked on, and it could be, as I said earlier, paint colors, wallpapers are like the kiss of death. If you've got, and you know what, wallpaper is hot now in decorating, but
The old.
A certain kind.
right. So most of the people that are selling their homes now have been in the home for about 40 years. So that's a different type of wallpaper. We'll cover, if they have hardwood floors that are being covered by wall-to-wall carpeting. I mean, we're going to cover everything. I give them information on furniture placement. I want to give them as much information as possible. In the event if they can't afford to have me come back to help them, they can follow the notes. I do leave them with a written report, so they can follow the notes. I've had a lot of do-it-yourselfers do a great job, and they've sold it the first week.
So in other words, you come in, you do the consultation, you give them the recommendations, they do it. At that point in time, the agent comes back to reassess where they should position themselves on the market. And at that point in time is then when they can schedule the professional photography.
Right.
to
So
come.
everything always starts with the consult. Then there are some clients who want me to come back. And what I do then, they'll work with the painter. I have a list of contractors that they can call on. And they'll do the painting, they'll do the packing, they'll do everything that I've told them to do. And then I go back in and I do the actual showcasing, which means I'm arranging the furniture, I'm accessorizing for them, I'm putting artwork on the wall, I'm taking a look at the lighting, and then the professional photographer follows me. So that's an occupied staging. The people are living in the house. Then there's some homes that actually require project management. I am a residential renovation project manager. I got certified to do that because some homes are so dated that I have to be back there and work with the contractors and how are we going to do a little extra work. So I'm overseeing the project. So it gets a little more intense doing that. And then we have the vacant homes. Those are empty homes. So there we have to bring in furniture, accessories to set up the house properly, and then it's photographed.
Well, what's your thoughts on this virtual staging?
I've seen some incredible virtual staging that honestly it looks like it is fully staged. I think there's a place for it. I think it needs to be noted on the listing. There was a show, I think Selling New York, when this is going back about 2-3 years, and Louise, I believe, he did like a virtual staging and he moved walls and he never said anything about that. And that was a big problem. I mean, there were people thinking he was going to lose his job. So I think there's a place for it. There was a case in the past where there was a virtual staging that an agent that I work with, she did that. It was a great job. People came in, they did not like that what was there, what they thought was there wasn't there. They took it off, we went in, we staged it, and then the house sold.
Yeah, I would agree with that if a buyer is looking at photographs and then they go to physically look at the house and they say, whoa, this isn't what I saw
It's sort of like
online.
misrepresentation.
Correct.
Well, that's why I
Is that how
think
they
if
felt?
you list something, but you know what, I think there is a place for it because not everyone can afford, vacant staging is expensive. So what I've suggested to some agents is do the virtual staging. Then in each individual room, have it on a poster size, maybe on an easel, so at least people can get an idea of how it can look with furniture. But I think that's a second choice. But as I said, it's expensive.
Do you ever have your client ask you, okay, if I do all your recommendations, what will be my ROI, my return on investment?
I can't. There are a lot of uncertainties out there. Okay, so it could be, look, I've staged homes where the real estate agent came in with their little camera and took pictures, and they looked horrible. Okay, so I can't control that. I can't control price, because price is still king. So, what does it say? Price gets them in, staging sells it, something like that. There's a saying like that. So I can't guarantee that. I will say that many of the homes that we've staged have sold within 2 weeks, and that's legitimate. The Real Estate Staging Association, which is my governing body, it's called RESA. Let me just find the statistics. They did a 2015 nationwide study of other stagers throughout the country, and staged homes sold on average in 23 days versus unstaged homes, which sold on average in 184 days. Like I said, many of the homes we have staged have sold within the first 2 weeks of
It's a big
listing.
difference. That's a very big difference. That's interesting.
Well, what's typically involved in the staging process? Like after you do your consultation and the person likes what you say and they say, yeah, we want to do this, what's the next stage or phase, or how and what's the time frame usually involved? I know that a lot depends on how much work that they're going to be doing, but in your opinion, what do you feel the time frame is from the time that you have that initial consultation to the time they're actually ready to put it on the market?
Every home is different. There have actually, I have done what's called speed staging, where a real estate agent brings me in literally 90 minutes to 2 hours before the photographer, and between the agent and me, we are doing the staging. So we can get it done, with whatever's there. Whatever I do will be better than when I first walked in. That's a given. So some stagings, it could be a few hours, it could be a few days, it could be months. I once had a dumpster outside for 2 months, so it's going to depend on what needs to be done in the house. And I usually, the first step after the consult, I tell clients, you have to start decluttering, packing. You're moving. So let's get things out of there that you're not going to need. Sell, donate, whatever has to be done. Because before the contractors can come in to do the work, it can't be cluttered. So step one is declutter, depersonalize, pack. Contractors come in, the painting, whatever has to be done is done. Then, the repairs are done, we do the updating, and then I go in and I do the final the showcasing, and then it's photographed.
Okay, fantastic. Well, I just got word we reached the midpoint of our episode, and the New Jersey Real Estate Show will return after hearing from our sponsors.
The New Jersey Real Estate Show is brought to you by the law offices of Joseph C. Petriello, located in Wayne, New Jersey. To contact them, call 973-890-7262. That's 973-890-7262. Are you purchasing or refinancing a home? Do you need a free same-day pre-approval? Then call Dean Scaduto from Coldwell Banker Home Loans at 201-322-3456. That's 201-322-3456. Are you an expert in your field?
Do you want your voice to be heard?
Maybe you have a great idea for a show but don't know how to do it.
Well, we can make it happen.
Email the New Jersey Podcast Guys at njpodcastguys@gmail.com.
Angela, let me ask you a $100,000 question. What is typically your most challenging client?
I have more than one. Okay, so it could be that I walk into a older home that hasn't been updated or cleaned for years, and that will require a lot of extra work. It could be a house that is overflowing with furniture. Typically, one of the first questions I'll ask when I go into a consultation is, how long have you lived in the house? Because that gives me a clue on what I'm going to find when I start going through the house. I find that the worst are the baby boomers and older who are used to real estate selling differently. The old days where the agent did the home search, brought them to a house, and they saw the house for the first time. They're not recognizing the fact that people are looking online first and making their selections based on what they're seeing. And they really will fight me. They'll say, well, when we bought this house 40 years ago, we did all the work in here. So why can't the people buying the house today do all the work like we did? And, I'll ask them, do you have children? And they'll say, yes, they're grown. And I say to them, so what do they say? And they look at me like, oh. I say, I rest my case. I said, if your children don't want to buy your furniture, don't want your wallpaper, don't want this 70s and 80s and 90s look, what makes you think that young people buying these homes today want the same thing?
Angela, I couldn't agree with you more. The longer I do this, the more I realize now that there's two main reasons why a buyer will come and look at a particular home. Number one is the quality of photos that appear online, and number two is the story that's being told about that property.
Yep, and just a story, what you just said about the way the photos appear online. Recently, my next door neighbor's parents listed their house. I did not go to do a staging consult for them, but the son, my neighbor, said, could you just take a look at my parents' house and give me some feedback? I went online, I looked at the pictures, I called him up and I said, I cannot give you feedback because the real estate agent has taken the pictures by him or herself. I don't know who the agent was. And I said, all that's being shown is the furniture. I can't give you feedback. Well, they went in, they spoke to the agent, they retook the photographs professionally, and he called me up and he said they finally started getting people coming in when the new pictures were listed, and they sold it.
I'm glad that she told that story, because I had a instance where we had a house on the market. I went over there and the listing had expired, and I said, to be honest with you, your photos are horrible. They're simply horrible. We need to get a professional in here to take the photographs, because pictures are only showing your kitchen counter, they're showing your bed, and they're showing your living room sofa. It's not showing the recessed lighting, it's not showing the hardwood floors, none of that stuff. We had the photos professionally taken. 2 weeks later, the house sold.
There you go.
I have a question for you. So who is it that is paying you? Is it the agent or the seller?
It goes a couple of ways. I work with a group of agents who I am part of their marketing package. So as soon as they get a listing, they automatically send me in, and they are paying for the initial consultation.
Okay.
And then any additional charges that incur after that, the home seller covers. Then I have other agents who just refer me out, and then the client will pay me direct.
Okay.
And those are smart agents that are adding her into to their presentation.
It's probably their marketing plan. She's part of their marketing plan, so that
Absolutely.
makes sense. She's getting a top dollar, more equity for the seller, and the seller's happy, and it's a win-win situation.
Absolutely. And you're giving that seller the guidance that they need to market and package that home and cause it to sell for its highest and best price. And I don't think you really can do that any longer without having it professionally staged.
Right, and I think that's why professionals such as Angela are the key. Just as we are the key to market real estate, to sell it, you are the key to stage and show the home the best as they could, the bones of the home, the showing how great the house could be. So you are the key.
It's marketing, and I find it amazing that people, when they're selling their car, will wash their car and present it properly, and then you walk into a house. I used to get all dressed up when I went into a house for staging consultations. I don't do it anymore. Today I was in 2 homes. I was covered with cat hair. So, I mean, they don't think that this is a commodity now, and this is their biggest investment.
Absolutely.
Most people, this is their largest investment. If they don't do what's necessary, they're going to lose equity in the house. That's the bottom line.
We agree.
So
I
my
agree.
job is to try to preserve that equity. That's all I do.
And you only get one shot to get it right.
Yep.
So make
First
the
impression
proper
is always the
investment.
key.
Get the
Absolutely.
consultation. Angela, if you don't mind me asking, what's a consultation cost for our listeners out there?
Well, I charge $295 for the initial 2 hours. If we run over, there's an additional hourly fee, but most of the time we can complete it within 2 hours. As I said, I take the notes. Some stagers do a walk and talk, so they have the clients take the notes. I have found through the years that clients will write whatever they want to do and whatever they want to
I agree with
hear.
that.
So I decide I'm taking the notes. I want them to concentrate on what I'm doing. And then what's really great, they get a copy of the notes, and then I scan them, and the real estate agent gets a copy as well. So everyone is on board and knows what needs to be
Makes
done.
sense. Makes sense.
In your professional opinion and in what you do, if a house is vacant, do you recommend renting furniture to maybe stage 1 or 2 rooms in that particular home?
As I said earlier, vacant staging is expensive. I'm a stager, and of course I'm going to say everybody should stage their house. But sometimes there are homes out there that are large and they're brand new, and you can kind of see where you're going to place furniture. You don't always, in my opinion, you don't always have to stage those homes. But on the other hand, there are homes that have, even new constructions that have just strange designs. And there were a couple of instances where I had to come in and stage them. They weren't selling empty. And we staged the main areas. It's going to be, what are you walking into? What's to the left? What's to the right? What are the key rooms? I've done like $2-3 million stagings, we never even touched the bedroom. It wasn't necessary. So every house is different, every instance is different, and there is no definite formula out there.
How does an individual identify who's a professional stager and who's an imposter?
Oh, good. Great question.
You know, it's number one, check to see if they have a website. You know, I was called by a woman recently, actually about 2 weeks ago, whose house had been staged, and she said we had stagers, and I said, really, what are their names? I never heard of them. I could not find a website on them. And when I went in the house, they didn't do a bad job at all. But they were focusing on decorating. Staging and decorating are two different things. So, you know, I couldn't find a website. So obviously, you know, they were just kind of neighborhood ladies doing this. You want to make sure that they're a registered business. You can check that out, that they have liability insurance. That's huge. There are a lot of what I call, you know, just women and men who like to decorate that think they can do staging. That don't have insurance. So you need to check that. And if they have a website, look at the portfolio, look at testimonials. You can call for referrals. If they're out there, you can ask for referrals.
And I'm a firm believer that you get what you pay for.
Absolutely.
So you say that it's not decorating.
Mm-hmm.
What is the fundamental difference between the two?
Staging is for the prospective buyers. We're looking to neutralize the home, not make it bland, but neutralize it so we can show the selling features. It removes the seller's personality out of that house. That's really important. Decorating is for the people living in the house. And as when I go in as a decorator, I'm making that house comfortable for them. Mm-hmm. I'm using their tastes, what the colors that they like, as opposed to staging. We don't want orange walls. We don't want, and I have some purple walls and red walls. I mean, we need to neutralize it. So that's the difference.
All right, and so you're neutralizing it. You're taking the personality, I guess, away from the decorations and stuff. What other psychology are you using there that helps to sell it?
Well, it's what I'm looking at. Number one, who is a prospective buyer? And I love when real estate agents come with me on consultations because I use their information, you know, and I'll ask them, especially when we have older sellers who don't really want to make the changes, and I'll turn to the agent and I'll say, who's a prospective buyer here? And the agent will say, well, somebody in their 30s or 40s, this is a big house. And then I could then segue into what I have to deal with. So that's important to do it. We want to make the house look younger if it is for a younger client. So I'm looking at, you know, the heavy drapes. Nobody does that anymore. You know, the floral wallpaper, the shiny brass that's hanging above. The shiny brass is out, you know, so we switch out the light fixtures.
Right. Okay.
What's the typical problem sometimes that you encounter during a consultation?
Oh, like when I go in, like what am I typically
Correct.
seeing? Well, as I said earlier, I'm going to see, you know, wallpaper is an issue. Wall-to-wall carpeting over hardwood floors. Oh, you know, that is such a problem. You know, nobody wants to buy somebody's carpet. When I said earlier that my husband and I, when we were looking at homes, I knocked out every house that had wall-to-wall carpeting on the main floors. Dated fixtures, dated kitchens and bathrooms. Now, we don't need to gut those. There are things that I can do to make them look more updated and acceptable, that somebody coming in can say, okay, I can live here until I have the money to redo the kitchen or redo the bath. That's always my goal, because we're not going to gut these rooms. They're not going to get the return on investment on them. Paneling. Paneling. You know, when clients say to me, should I paint my paneling? Yes, please do. Because paneling is another one. People don't want to paint it.
Would you suggest they remove the shag carpet too?
Yes. You have a client with a shag carpet?
Oh, my God.
Or do you have shag carpet?
No.
And panel.
Actually, shags are back in style from decorating, and they're just not orange or, you know.
For area rugs?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It is interesting. Shags, right? They say.
Hey, everything
But
70s is back.
You have to constantly be on top of all the latest trends in design and fashion.
Correct. I mean, yesterday was Monday, I was at New York Now, which is a show that occurs in Manhattan. I go to a lot of the home furnishing shows. You know, I come from the fashion industry. I was in the fashion industry for 20 years, and it's interesting when they were talking at the show yesterday, a lot comes over to home furnishings from fashion. So whatever we see happening in fashion, you are going to see something filtering over to the home furnishings end of it.
Can you give us any insight as to what some of the new trends you're seeing?
As I said, I mean, I wasn't joking when I said, the 70s, the 60s, the shags are in, the mid-century modern, I love that, mid-century modern. When I staged my aunt's house, this was before mid-century, I wish I had known, because all her furniture was 60s, impeccable, perfect. I mean, so all this is happening. I mean, if you look at the styles now, I just bought a pair of bell bottoms. I wore them in high school.
It's old as new.
Yeah.
Old as
Well,
new.
you're only out of high school a few years.
But you know what? With fashion, when we were in fashion, we wanted to switch over really fast because that's what generated the sales. We can't do the same thing in home furnishings. It's too expensive. The transition happens a lot slower.
I see. That makes sense.
Okay, I got the high sign. We're coming up on the 2-minute warning. Mm-hmm. Angela, this has been a very, very informative show, but I do want to ask you another question. If a person can't afford to have their home professionally staged, what are 5 things you would suggest that they do?
Number 1, concentrate on your curb appeal. What people see on the outside kind of sets the tone of what they think they're going to see on the inside. As a stager, when I walk up to a house and I look at it, if I see everything looking fabulous outside, I kind of know the inside's going to be similar. On the flip side, when I see peeling paint, uncut grass, dead shrubs, I know there's going to be a problem on the inside. So concentrate on the outside. Paint any dated or dark rooms. Light, bright, airy. Those are the words that's very important for people to think about. Update the light fixtures. I talked about that earlier. Declutter, depersonalize, and organize. That's very simple. You want people to see the house, not the stuff. And clean. I mean, you go into bathrooms and kitchens that are dirty. People may live like that, but they don't want to buy that. They may buy it and then make it dirty, but you want your house to be sparkling clean. And really a final note is you are selling your old house, right? Someone is selling their old house, but someone is buying their new house. So I tell my clients, can your house pass as someone's new house, or are you going to sell it as a fixer-upper? And when you sell it as a fixer-upper, you are eroding your home equity.
Very, very, very good point.
That's great. That's great.
And Angela, it was a pleasure having you on the show today.
Thank you so much for asking me.
Oh, you're very welcome, and your knowledge and expertise regarding the home staging process is extraordinary.
Thank you.
The wealth of information you shared with our listeners today was extremely valuable, informative, and helpful to say the least. Thank you so much, Angela, for sharing and coming on the show today. And if our listeners have any more questions regarding the home staging process, what's the easiest way for them to contact you?
They can give me a call at 201-317-9072. I would recommend they go to the website to see some before and after pictures. They'll get the idea of what staging is all about. And you can go to njhomedecorating.com. And through my website, I can be contacted via email.
Thank you again so much, Angela.
Thank you.
And please make sure you tune in next week as we discuss the first-time homebuyer consultation and the importance of finding the right real estate agent that you both like and trust. Thanks for listening, and stay safe.